Now we're looking at an algebra problem that's a rational expression, and we're adding these two rational expressions together. And we have to realize what our denominators really are. We want to think about these denominators as a single factor of x plus 2 and a single factor of x plus 3, so that we try to decide what it is that I need to multiply by to make the other one look the same. Even though they both have an x in them, the x isn't the factor. The x isn't what we're multiplying by, so that's not actually something in common between them. That's similar to saying if I had 12 and 13 as denominators, the fact that they each have a 10 in them doesn't really matter. That 10's not in common in terms of a factor. 10 doesn't divide into 12. 10 doesn't divide into 13. So the fact that there's a 10 there doesn't matter. Similarly with our variables, the fact that they both have an x doesn't really matter. What matters is, as I look at the second fraction here, he has an x plus 3 in him. So the first one wants an x plus 3. So we put an x plus 3 in the top and in the bottom. Now as we look from the perspective of the second fraction, the second fraction looks at the first fraction and says, hey, you have an x plus 2. I don't have an x plus 2. I'd like an x plus 2. So we're going to give him an x plus 2, and we do that legally by putting it in both the top and the bottom. And in doing so, now both fractions have the same denominator. We have an x plus 3 over x plus 3, x plus 2. And we have an x plus 2 over x plus 3, x plus 2. So now my denominators are the same, and now I can just add the numerators together. So up top, I'm going to get x plus 3 plus x plus 2. And in my denominator, remember the denominator doesn't change. Once you make them common denominators, once you make the denominators the same, they don't change because that's just how many pieces the pie was cut up into. And now up top, we can combine some like terms. We can get 2x plus 5, and our denominator just stays the same. Now, a little bit later on in this lesson, we're going to talk about simplifying rational expressions. So we should look at this and say, can we simplify this further? And we're going to talk about how to factor the top and see if there's any factors in common. But for now, we can say, nope, this is as good as it gets. There's my answer.